Hello everyone, I am so happy to see you again, and I hope you are all doing well. I'm just putting on my apron here. Today I want to share with you 5 make-ahead party appetizers for stress-free hosting. Stress-free is the name of the game around here, especially if I have guests coming over. So here's what we're going to make today. Puff pastry with strawberry jam and brie, garlic scape pesto, melon prosciutto skewers, goat cheese and radish bruschetta, and some glorious stuffed mushrooms. We're going to start with the mushrooms. So what I have here is about 1.5 pounds of baby Bella mushrooms. You could use ordinary white button mushrooms here. I just think the Bellas have an attractive color. Wash and dry the mushrooms, then pop out the stems. So now I'm placing the mushroom caps on a parchment-lined baking sheet. And then we can set this aside. Now we need to finely chop these stems. We could do this in a food processor, but I'm going to use a knife. Melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a skillet over medium heat. Add the chopped mushroom stems and saute until the stems release almost all of their moisture, about 5 minutes. Add 3 teaspoons of garlic paste, or use 2 or 3 cloves of fresh minced garlic. Saute the garlic for just 30 seconds. Stir in 1/4 cup or 40 grams of plain dried breadcrumbs. Stir the crumbs for a minute or so until they turn toasty brown. Then stir in a pinch of coarse salt and grinds of black pepper. Transfer the mixture to a large bowl. Stir in 1/4 cup or a small handful of either Parmesan or Asiago cheese. I'm using Asiago cheese today. And already the smell's just incredible. Then we can enrich the mix with 4 ounces or 113 grams of softened cream cheese. Stir that about. Then I need a teaspoon or so of dried thyme leaves. If you are using fresh thyme, you want to use about 1 tablespoon of the fresh chopped leaves. Then we need to add some chopped parsley, which I have in the garden. Follow me. I am so glad that you and I planted parsley in the garden. It's a very useful herb to have on hand. To chop parsley, I simply gather it into a little bundle, and then I start cutting with a knife. So this is about 2 tablespoons of parsley. In you go. We will use more fresh parsley for garnish. You can make these stuffed mushrooms a good day ahead of time, and then just bake them off shortly before your guests arrive. To make life easy, I'm going to use a little cookie scoop to fill my mushroom caps. I just tried some of this filling. It's really, really delicious. Lizette just had a good point. She said that this stuffing would be great in stuffed bell peppers. I agree. So now I'm going to cover this with cling film, pop it into the refrigerator, and then we can bake it off later. Into the refrigerator. Let me get my workstation cleaned up and we can move on to the next recipe. So let's make some puff pastry with strawberry jam and brie. This is one of my signature appetizers. Really easy to make. So I have a sheet of thawed but still quite cold puff pastry here. This is store-bought. What's nice about this is that it's folded into thirds, so you have 3 panels here. We're going to put the strawberry jam and the brie on the center panel. We are going to start with a layer of strawberry jam. Now this is the jam that I made the other day from fresh local strawberries. I'm going to make this jam again on Sunday. I will film the video and then you and I can enjoy homemade scones with homemade strawberry jam for afternoon tea. So be sure to tune in on Sunday. Spread 3 tablespoons of strawberry jam on the center panel of the puff pastry. Top the jam with 3 or 4 half-inch thick slices of either brie or camembert cheese. Use a knife to cut inch-wide slits along each of the outer pastry panels. Then fold the slits over the jam and cheese. Then take 1 beaten egg and brush it over the top of the pastry. The egg will help the pastry to brown beautifully as it bakes in the oven. I'm going to rearrange this pastry lengthwise on the little cookie sheet. I'm going to add some sliced almonds. These are the organic raw sliced almonds that you and I bought at Tierra Farm the other day. I'm not ready to bake this yet, so we can simply cover it with cling film and pop it into the refrigerator. This is another great make-ahead appetizer. And I love it in winter as much as I love it in summer. Once again, I need to clean up my workstation, and then we will move on to the next recipe. Onto the Garlic Scape Pesto. Now, you could use regular pesto here. I just happen to have garlic scapes in my garden, and I harvested a huge mountain of them yesterday. Let me take you back to yesterday and into the garden so I can explain what garlic scapes are. Garlic scapes are the curly, vibrant green stalks that grow from the bulb of hard-neck garlic. The scapes have a mild garlic taste that I absolutely love. The bulge on the end of a scape is actually a flower bud. It's important to remove the scapes before the flower bed opens. This way, the plant can put all of its energy into the garlic bulb below. And all I have to do is roughly chop these. The food processor will do the rest of the work. Now you can use every part of the garlic scape, including this little, I think it's the seed pod up here. The first time I made garlic scape pesto, I thought it was the best thing I had ever tasted in my life. Maybe this will be your experience too. The first thing I want to do is put the lid on, and then I'm going to pulse the machine just to break up the scapes. Now we can add either almonds, or I'm going to use organic raw pine nuts. These two are from Tierra Farm. I probably sound like an ad for Tierra Farm, but honestly, I shop there. I just love the place. And some Parmesan cheese. Actually, this is Asiago cheese that I grated earlier. Ground pepper. To make sure I have peppercorns in here. There are no exact measurements for this pesto. So I'm just grinding up the pine nuts. Now, through the feed tube, I'm going to add enough extra virgin olive oil to create a smooth pesto. You have not lived until you have tried garlic scape pesto. As I think I mentioned in the voiceover earlier, if you don't have hardneck garlic in your garden, and therefore you have no garlic scapes, you can always find them at farmers markets. They're pretty much available through the month of June. Now we can decant this pesto, this miraculous pesto, to a little bowl. And I'm going to put this remaining pesto in a jar, and then I will freeze the pesto. Screw top lids. So we made pesto for our party, and at the same time, we accomplished a food preservation project. These go into the freezer. Now, let's make some skewers with cantaloupe, mozzarella pearls, prosciutto, and basil. I have basil in the garden. And we are going to drizzle the little skewers with balsamic glaze. Cut the cantaloupe in half and then scrape out the seeds from each half. I find that an ice cream scoop is the best tool for removing melon seeds. You need a melon baller to make the melon balls, and there's a trick to using this gadget. You want to press straight down like this, and then turn. And then you have a respectable sphere. Once you've pressed out as many melon balls as you can from the half of a cantaloupe, then you cut. I'm going to make a little cut here. Then you lay the half this way, and you cut as deep as your melon baller was. And that's about an inch, I think. Yes. And of course, you can save this and eat it. I do wish I had a more ripe cantaloupe, but I don't. It's just what my supermarket had to offer. Now we can open up our prosciutto, and I need some basil leaves. Let's head back out to the garden. Now I'm cutting these long strips of prosciutto in half. I have these little knotted bamboo skewers here. These are the same skewers I use for the olives that I put in my martini. So then we skewer a melon ball. Then a basil leaf, which I'm going to fold in half. Then a mozzarella pearl. Prosciutto, which I'm going to fold pretty much into a wedge like this. And then another melon ball. That looks pretty. Just put this on a platter. These melon skewers are far more delicious than the sum of their few parts. My guest and I devoured them greedily. Now to gild this lily, I'm going to add some balsamic glaze. And I'm going to try to do this as neatly as possible. I'm going to cover these and pop them into the refrigerator. I just ran out to grab some cranberry juice and some vodka. It is 90 degrees Fahrenheit here and really humid. So our drinks and nibbles party will definitely be indoors. Now, I'm going to make a Cosmo, a whole pitcher of it. And the first thing I need is vodka. And then some orange-flavored liqueur. This is Cointreau. Grand Marnier is wonderful in a Cosmo as well. Not too much. Cranberry juice. I'm going to start with the juice of 3 limes, and then we will see if we need to add more. Now, a little tip. Someone told me to cut off this little knob here before juicing the limes or the lemons. This way, you achieve more juice. You can, of course, also roll the lime under your palm. You can even put a lime or a lemon in the microwave for 10 to 15 seconds, just to release the juice. There's not much vodka left in this bottle. Might as well add it. And a little more cranberry. I'm going to cover this and pop it into the refrigerator. And when it's good and cold and just before serving time, I will give it a taste and amend it with either more cranberry juice or more lime, but not more vodka. And I do want to cut a lime that I will use to garnish the cocktail glasses. So I make a little cut down the middle, and then I cut crosswise. The reason I cut the lime that way is so that it already has a little notch in it, so that the lime wedge will be secure against the cocktail glass. Let me put these away, and then I want to run out to the garden. We need a radish for the next appetizer. So these are the royal purple radishes that you and I planted from seed about a month ago. Radishes grow very quickly, really just 28 days from seed to harvest. I'm going to slice these thinly on my little mandolin. If you have a mandolin, make sure to use the tool that comes with the gadget that protects your fingers, because the blade is really sharp. That second radish created these heart shapes. So I have toasted rounds from a baguette. We are going to make goat cheese and radish bruschetta. Here's the goat cheese. I would probably need half of that. I want to give this a stir. I love goat cheese. It's tangy and creamy. If you don't care for goat cheese, you could use some other cheese, even cream cheese, maybe with some chives mixed in. Then all we need to do is spread some of the goat cheese on each baguette piece. I would put a nice, fairly thick layer of the cheese on the bread. Now these appetizers are for a little cocktail party. I would not serve so many appetizers if I were inviting people to dinner. I thought I would be able to fit 3 rounds of radish on each bruschetta, but my radishes were so large, I may only be able to put 1, but that's still very pretty. I will save these radishes for a salad. I think the only garnish this bruschetta requires is some black pepper. And here's the game plan. About 45 minutes before your guests arrive, preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. Pop the puff pastry with strawberry and brie into the preheated oven, along with the stuffed mushrooms. They both bake at the same temperature, and they both bake for about 20 minutes. I have transferred some of the stuffed mushrooms to this platter, and now I simply need to garnish them with some freshly chopped parsley. These are really hot, but I do want to taste one. These stuffed mushrooms are perfectly seasoned, perfectly savory, perfectly delicious. I hope you will give them a try. And before I bring this strawberry and brie puff pastry braid to table, I'm going to cut it into thin slices. I did have a sip of our Cosmo. Surprisingly, it is not too strong, in my opinion. Let's bring all of these appetizers and our drink du jour to the table. I think this is the perfect setup for a stand and mingle cocktail party. I hope you feel inspired to make some of these recipes. I have tasted of everything, and everything is absolutely delicious. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and I can put a couple of my other videos at the end of this one that you can enjoy between now and my next upload, which again will be on Sunday when we make homemade strawberry jam, homemade scones, and have afternoon tea. Again, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Be sure to treat yourself extra well, and I will see you on Sunday. Chin chin.